Hello everybody, back here again for vlog a day, and today is Saturday the 5th, and today was a lovely, beautiful day to be alive. Got up this morning way too damn early. Dogs got me up and around, but it is what it is. It's part of the job. So luckily I'm not a very long sleeper most of the time anyway, so it wasn't too bad. But got up and got out, got the dogs outside, jumped in the hot tub for a little bit, got my soak on, and then got up and around out of that, kind of hanging around. Wife got up, then once she was up, I could get back in, get the dogs fed, got that all taken care of and wrapped up, and kind of chilling out for the morning. Ended up back outside with my breakfast cigar and just chilling out, having a wonderful evening, and a wonderful morning, I guess, not evening, wrong time of day, but chilling out there, getting a few things done. Temperature was actually really nice. It wasn't too bad. So the fireworks had us up super late last night, so that was definitely a thing that happened. And then I figured it was going to be going on again tonight, which didn't turn out to be as bad as I thought. We did have some fireworks off and on throughout the day, but nothing too bad. In the evening, we had probably about an hour and a half of fireworks, but I expected a lot worse, being as how this was, the Saturday kind of thing. So figured we'd have a lot more of it, but I guess everybody must have spent them all yesterday. So, but went ahead, as we were kind of getting a few things done, wife kind of was looking all sad and unhappy and whatnot, and asked her what was going on. She's like, I'm going to take Dad up, get his water tested and whatnot, and take him up to the fish store he bought his fish tank and stuff at. And she was dreading that whole thought of taking him up there, and I said, are you wanting me to take him up instead? And she's like, I hate to ask. And I'm like, well, you're not asking, I'm volunteering. I'm offering to take this off your plate for you. And she was like, you do so much. I'm like, yeah, I know, but right now you don't really want to do it, and I don't want to do it, but you don't get to leave the house as often, or you have to leave the house a lot more often because you're going to work every day, and I work from this house, so it makes more sense for me to do something I dread that leaves the house than you do something you dread that leaves the house. And she's like, it makes sense. So I went ahead and I volunteered for it. Reached out to my father-in-law and said, hey, do you know what time the fish store opens? He said 11. And I said, cool. It was about 10:30 at that time. And I said, how long do you need to get ready? And he said 15 minutes. And I said, cool. Text me when you're ready, because sometimes it takes me longer, whatever, no big deal. So I was like, okay, no problem. So I went ahead and got a few other things, got the dogs back out one last time, make sure I went potty real good, so wife wouldn't have to mess with it, and let her know, just found myself a dime. You gotta love that when you find money on the road. So, but yeah, went ahead, got that done, and I was getting a couple other things ready to go, and grabbed myself a cigar for the trip. And 9 minutes later, I set an alarm saying like, hey, this is, about 10 minutes out, give me 5 minutes to grab the last bit of my stuff. My alarm hadn't even went off yet, and you get a call, I'm ready, let's go. And I'm like, well, I'm not ready. I'm like, I'll call you I'll text you when I'm ready. He goes, well, I said it'd be 10. I'm like, yeah, but you said 15, it's been 8, so let's settle down a little bit here, and I'll, let you know when I'm heading out. So I went ahead and was annoyed by that. He gets very short-term time blindness. He gets real, and often he'll get weird. He'll text me different things, and I don't know where moments later, it's like, are you ready? I just got the text, calm down, man, chill out in life. So went ahead, headed over. I only know I was heading out, got the dogs situated where they wanted to be. Wife was good with them. And then we jumped in the car and we headed up and had to get some water tested. He had a Picosmus dye, and should have been getting his water tested before, but only test kit he bought was pH, which was probably the least important thing to test for in your fish tank, especially in a new aquarium. But that's the one they sold him, and that's the one he bought. He bought it when I wasn't there. My wife had taken him up there for that trip, or I would have talked him out of buying that one. But hey, this is not my tank. It is what it is. The tank is overgrown with algae. It's getting out of hand. It looks like all shit. He's overfeeding the hell out of it, which is something I told him numerous times. Number one culprit of every tank problem is 90% of it's overfeeding. And I fed my fish Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. That's all I fed my fish tanks. And I had thousands and thousands of gallons of fish tanks throughout my life, and ran a pet store for 15 years. So I kind of know a little bit about this, but he doesn't seem to want to listen to that. So he'll listen to what he thinks he wants to hear, and he does what he wants, which is fine. Because on this one, we had some, I don't know, not the best relationship recently. He pissed me off with some stuff. So I have removed myself from dealing with the fish tank with him, because I don't want to hear the BS of, well, you told me to do this, that's why it happened and went bad. I just don't want to deal with the shit. So I'm physically willing to move things, carry things, that kind of stuff, but I'm not giving him advice on how to do it. So we get in there, it's super busy. It's Saturday. They've only been open for like 15 minutes, and that place is slam packed busy. Like it's just so busy. So it took us a while. We finally got around to getting the water tested, and his nitrates and nitrites are like through the roof. Like they're like 30 times higher than it should be, kind of thing. That's super high. So yay. The store sold him a nitrate pad to put into his filter to help hold nitrates out of the water chemically, which I'm not a big fan of. They told him to do a small water change, and he's like, okay. I'm like, what do you define as a small water change? And basically they said, well, I'd say 30, at least 30, probably 40%. And I'm like, oh my God. Like in my lifetime, I don't think I ever did a 40% water change on a fish tank. It's just, that's too much in my opinion. But hey, what do I know? So I was like, yeah, not gonna happen, but whatever. So headed back. We ended up buying some other chemicals to put in it, some more bacterias and whatnot. So we bought that. Then I also said, hey, why don't we go ahead and buy some plants? And they're like, well, there's a chance the fish will beat him up because he's got cichlids. And I'm like, well, it's also a big tank. There's very few fish in there right now, so let's see. And the horn, I don't know where the hell it is. I can't remember the name of it right now, but that plant is probably the best for removing nitrates out of the water. And my hope is there's so much in the water, it'll grow faster than the fish can beat it up. That's my hope. And I said, a worst case scenario, if that doesn't work, I'll build like a little breeding box around it, like you put your babies in, and basically keep the fish from beating it up. They can't get to it, they can't eat it, then it'll still thrive. So we'll go from there and see what happens, but who knows. So we didn't buy that. It was only $5. So it was cheapest thing we bought today. But he bought that. He bought some chemicals and whatnot. Did not buy a test kit, which I told him multiple times, hey, you probably should look at getting a test kit for ammonias and nitrates and all that kind of stuff, nitrates. But nope, didn't get that at all, which I asked him on the way back, did you get the test kit? No, I forgot. I'm like, what the hell? And he seems really depressed and sad about the tank because he's now spending money. Before I bought the tank, I bought all that kind of stuff. We just took it out of his bank account. So when he paid us back on it, because it was easier than his account, we have set up where he can't have access to too much money at a time to help protect him from buying really dumb shit or worse, getting scammed. So we have it set up where I think he's on a $500 limit. So after that, it has to be approved by my wife. So the tank was obviously way more than that. So I just paid for it, and we just transferred the money from his account to our account. So, but with him buying, I don't know, 30, 40 bucks of stuff today and not bringing home any new fish seemed to really depress him in the process, which I thought, well, if you hadn't overfeeding the damn thing, your water been fine. You could have introduced more fish each week. It would have been fine to go too. But you don't, you're overfeeding. So he's like, I don't think I'm overfeeding. I'm like, I can guarantee you are. Like, everybody is, I guarantee it. So I was like, what the hell? Found out also he's like taking the pellets, which are floating pellets, which cichlids eat off the top, and they don't like to eat off the ground, off the bottom, which is, that's their nature. He actually puts his hand in the water, swish around to make sure the pellets sink faster. I'm like, why would you want a pellet to sink? They're not gonna eat it off the bottom. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? So he has no cory cats, he has no clownloach, he has nothing on the bottom to eat up the extra food either. So it's a mess. So got back home, decided to do a water change, and we got a 7-gallon jug over there at the house for him. We use for hurricane water prep. Used to use it for my RO, but now I got one in my tank, in my sink, so it's all good. I said, hey, drain the water, fill that jug up, 5-7 gallons, whatever you want to put in it, treat the water. Once it's treated, I'll come over and I'll dump it in your tank for you. And he says, okay, that'll work. I said, cool. So he headed in, getting the plant put in there and all of their fun stuff. And I said, don't put the bacteria in after we do the water change, because you're gonna be throwing part of that bacteria away. It makes no sense. Because if you put in, say, 60 gallons worth of bacteria, and then you throw away 25 gallons, that was dumb. So wait till it's done. He said, okay. So we headed over, I got some stuff done, hung out with the dogs a little bit. And not that long after, maybe half an hour, I get a call from him saying he's ready for me to come dump the water in. So I said, cool. Went over, dumped the water, and I thought the water had to set with the treatment in it for a while. That's why they were going in a separate jug, because if not, just turn the vacuum on that siphons the water out, run the water right back into the sink, from the sink into the tank, and no buckets needed. But that guy told him it's not safe to do that way. You got to like put it in the buckets first. Makes no sense. If it's gonna be in the bucket for 1 second or 10 seconds before I dump it in, why can't you just dump in the chemicals as you're adding the water? Makes no sense either. So who the hell knows? So I went over and dumped the jug in there. And as I'm pouring the jug in the tank, I'm watching just food just stir up like crazy. It's all over the place. Like, it's on the rocks and the plants. Now the water's like brown. It's just so gross looking. I go, see all this stuff in the water? And he goes, yeah. I go, that's all the extra food you've been feeding. Like, this is disgusting. This is why your fish are dying. And this is why you got to stop feeding so damn much. Like, what the hell? So I headed back over. I again thought I had the water set for 10, 15 minutes with the chemicals in it. And I get back home. I was there all about 6 minutes. And he texts me and says, hey, I'm ready to jump the next jug. And I was like, shit, okay. So I head back over. Not 2 minutes goes by, and I get a call from him. Oh, you gonna come dump the water for me or not? And I'm like, I'm in the fucking driveway, like walking across the street. Like, it's been 2 minutes. What do you think? I just magically appear in your fucking house? And I was like, dude, settle down, man. Stop being a dickhead. So get there, and of course he takes another phone call. So luckily he's on the phone. I'll deal with it. And at that point, I said, if you're able to dump the water in like instantly after putting the chemicals in, I'll just wait here. Nobody's been going back and forth across the street. So he got the jug filled up, put the chemicals in the amount he wanted, all that stuff. Went and dumped the third bucket in, and a third jug in, and he puts all the chemicals away. I'm like, what are you doing? The tank's still low. He goes, oh, I thought that was gonna be enough. I'm like, no. So he digs all the chemicals back out, sit up there, get it filled up, and he wants to fill the jug like halfway. I'm like, you're gonna need a full jug. And the first 2 or 3 jugs, he'd been filling to 5 gallons or so, 7-gallon jug. This one, I think, to prove me wrong, that I couldn't hold another jug, he filled it all the way up to the very top, like almost overflowed it. So I was like, yeah, what the hell? So he goes, oh, you can stop now. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna fill it up. So I went ahead and filled the tank up because he's trying to stop it like right at the bottom of the black. And I hate seeing the water line. There's a lip on top to hide the water line for a reason. I hate seeing it. So I went ahead and filled the tank up full 7 gallons. So we ended up doing basically 15 to 22 gallons water change on a 75-gallon aquarium. I figure it's probably 60 gallons in it at best. Maybe 55 gallons in there by the time you take in all the sand and all the decorations and all the shells and stuff. So he did probably about a half, 50% water change, at least 40% water change. So who knows? We'll see if it works. So from there, head back across the street, hanging out with the dogs. Had a dog supposed to be getting picked up, and they reached out and said it was going to be about 4:30. I was looking at my watch. I'm like, yeah, that's close enough. I have time to get my run in. I said, hey, give me a holler when you get close. And she's usually really, really good about it. When she gets like off the interstate, she'll text me. It just gives me 10 minutes, 12 minutes. And I thought, well, I'll stay close. I'll be back by then. And then she'd screwed up and meant to say 4:08, not 4:28. So I didn't get a text saying she was close either. I just got a text saying, hey, sorry, I'm early. I'm here. It was like not even 4 o'clock yet. So I was like, shit. So I called my wife real quick. I'm like, hey, they're there to pick the dog up. Here's how you do it. We already had it set up. I was too far away to get back right away, but she gave it back. It's all fine. The dog's a little hard to get the harness on, but I said, bring the customer in. She'll put the harness on him. It's all good, and we'll be set. So that went. I did go ahead and run back over to the house. I got there as she was leaving, so chat with the owner a little bit, and she wrote me a check, and she owed me some money from before, and a tip from before, and then she paid for this one and another one, and so check, because I wrote a post-it note with all the money on it, and I'm like, oh, whatever. So I'm not too concerned. She keeps really good track of that stuff, so I don't give it too much thought, but it is what it is. So went ahead from there and headed back out to finish my run, and Karen was hanging out with the dogs that were still there. Got my run finished up, got back, and from there was able to grab a bunch of ice from the freezer, drop the ice onto the ice bath, we started cooling down while I was in the hot tub. Jumped in the hot tub a little bit, dogs out chilling out with me, and then got out and got in the ice bath, which I think was a 60, low 60s, I think, mid 60s, somewhere in there. And it felt really nice. I need to get it down colder. I'm just really kind of taking my time. I figure keep lowering it down a little bit as I go, get the chiller hooked up, and then I'll work my way into it over the next month. I'll get down to where I'm in that, high 40s, low 50s kind of range. Because right now it's so hot outside, it's almost impossible to get the water temperature that low. But it is definitely getting my breathing going and getting that shock factor, the cold water bath. So it is definitely kicking my butt. So from there, grabbed myself a shower, and then ended up knocking ourselves out. Nice little leftover dinner, which was super easy peasy. And for the 2 dogs left, I've been kind of talking to friends about maybe hanging out. Both of them are super cool by themselves. I was just going to turn the radio on real loud to drown out in case there was any fireworks, which I figured wouldn't be too bad. So, and both these dogs are not bad with fireworks, since the other one I was really scared I left. And we were going to try and go hang out with some friends for a couple hours tonight. And one of them ended up not being able to hang out at all because they had a friend who needed help driving to New York, Rochester, New York, to pick up a family member who got to the hospital early. had surgery and whatnot, and they didn't want to make the 18-hour drive by themselves. So they had volunteered a couple weeks ago that they couldn't find nobody else that would do it. And apparently today they found out they didn't really look for anybody else. So they were kind of like, ah, shit. So now here I am trying to be kind of a last minute, last hope became their best hope. So they're taking off, so they didn't want to go out tonight because they're leaving tomorrow early and they didn't want to be tired. So they weren't going to meet out. And the other two we're going to meet up with, they end up at the lake, I guess, or the ocean today, and got a little bit too damn drunk. So basically their answer was, we'll go out with you guys, but you got to come pick us up and bring us back. And I decided I didn't really mess with that because mostly at that point, they like, when they go to the bar, like to hang out there way too long. And we still had dogs here, so I couldn't be gone that long. So did not want to have to try and chase them out of the bar to get them back home, or put the risk of, I guess, having to call an Uber. I guess could have done that, but this said held it and did not go out tonight at all. So we just chilled out instead. After dinner, ended up outside, had myself a couple cigars, hang out with the dogs, and watching a little bit of fireworks from the neighbors and all that good fun stuff. But yeah, overall, pretty uneventful, but pretty good day. So that's all I got for right now. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a safe, wonderful day. Thanks for watching.